Hello, welcome to part 3 of my video diary. I'm putting this video diary together for you to get a bit of a sneak peek behind the scenes of QCS marking, share with you some of the learning that I've got from this and some of the experience that I've gained from this year, and give you a bit of an insight as to exactly how your work is marked, how we use those mark schemes, and some real life examples for you to be able to put into practice in any tasks that you're doing. Now, if you haven't already seen parts 1 and 2 of my video diary, then I would suggest you go back and have a look at those because they'll give you a bit more background as to what I'm going to be talking about today. And it'll also explain to you why the QCS test, that's the Year 12 exams, externally marked exams, so these are statewide exams in Queensland, is a really good example of what students can do to really boost their grades without having specific subject knowledge, because this is not a subject-based exam. So go back and have a look at those videos if you need a little bit more information about that. But I'm going to get stuck in today with sharing with you what we've done in marker training. So we've now finished our marker training. This is an ongoing checklist and the immersers and the supervisors do keep having discussions with us, but essentially our training is now done. We've gone through in depth with a fine-tooth comb over every single part of the mark scheme for our particular unit. I'm doing section 8, and that's items 12, 13 and 14 in the test. So in the link that you'll have had with this video, I've given you a little outline of what those questions are, what the tasks are, what the resources are that are provided that students are expected to use, and what the stimulus is. So have a look at those, have those with you while I talk through the information I want to share with you today. So what I'm going to focus on today is talking to you about how the mark scheme determines where credit is given and where credit isn't given. I'm not going to talk so much today about what I've seen in students' responses, what's been good, where people are making mistakes, because we have started doing some marking of real script, but I'm sure that I'm going to have a lot more to share with you once I've done more marking over the next few days. So I will do that, but it will be coming up in the next few videos. What I want to share with you today is one of the big takeaways that I've gained that I really want to pass on and share with you. This is going to be a super important point for you guys to take away, no matter what type of exam, what kind of test, what kind of assessment you're doing. And that has been to put your best stuff at the top. Now, obviously, if this is an extended response you were writing, then that doesn't necessarily work. I'm talking about a structured kind of bullet point or table form. And you'll see that in item 13 of the task that I'm marking at the moment. So I'll just give you a quick close up of this. You can just see I've scribbled a couple of notes and underlined a couple of things. That is by no means the extent of the scribbling and underlining. In video 2, I showed you what some of my mark schemes look like from last year. I will show you what my ones look like from this year, but I haven't got them with me today because we have to leave those at the marking centre. So it says, give an appropriate adjective to describe each of 4 different characteristics that Fletcher attributes to his client in the extract. Provide evidence to justify your choice of adjectives. So this means that they need to make him sound innocent because Fletcher is the guy who's representing the defense client, okay? And again, go back and have a look at the resources if you need to understand what's going on here. It says, avoid using adjectives already in the extract or made from words in the extract. So what they call the stem of your task is to give some appropriate adjectives to describe the client that Fletcher would use in defending his client. So we want to be trying to paint a really good picture of this guy, trying to make him sound like a really upstanding member of the community and how could he possibly commit this crime. The Q, which is the bit that kind of gives you the clue as to what to write in here, says avoid using adjectives that are already in the extract. So don't use describing words that are already in the scene somewhere or that are made from words in the extract. So that means and it does do this, it mentions the word fear in the extract, so that means using words like fearful, fearless, afraid. They're all words that you may still get some credit for, but you're not going to get as much credit for as if you came up with your own adjective, perhaps like terrified. Okay, so it's an adjective that still has a similar theme, but it is a different describing word, obviously. So what the students have to do is come up with 4 different adjectives and then come up with evidence from the extract that supports their choice of adjective. okay? And it says specifically, use words and line numbers, and that's what I've underlined and circled. Use words is underlined, line numbers is underlined, and the word and. They want you to use both, okay? So there's plenty of cues and clues there for students as to what they need to include. I'm sure it comes as no surprise to you that there are some students that haven't done this, because in the heat of the moment, we forget what those little clues have told us, and especially once we've gotten maybe halfway through our response and our mind is going off on a certain train track, it can become difficult. But this is why I go on about this with you and why I want to share this with you. However, that is not the thing I want to focus on today. I do that many times in many of my other trainings. In my 10-week program, I talk to you all about command words and instructions and how to do that thing that teachers say, which is read the question. They keep saying read the question, but it's hard to know what they mean by that. They never explain themselves, or many of them don't, and that's what I'm here to do. But I do that elsewhere. Today, what I want to talk about is the fact that in the marking guide, it clearly states that if more than one item is put into each grid square on this table, if more than one answer is put in, whether it is the adjective or the evidence, then we are only to accept or to take notice of the first piece. Now, instantly, that freaked me out a little bit. It might freak you out a little bit, because often I say, if you've got more than one good thing to say, or you can think of other good things to say, if in doubt, put it in. But that could be a problem then if there's only going to be the first thing marked. So the lesson to take away from this, and this goes for, like I said, any task really, if you want to put in multiple things, then make sure your best one is the top one. Okay, now that might be a case of if you've maybe put in 2 or 3, and I've seen a couple of students' examples that have done this. They put in a couple of examples, and actually I've already seen it with one student. They put an arrow up to the top, so they put in maybe 2 pieces of evidence from the extract. They put in the evidence, they put a little quote, they put the line number, which is great, and they put another one, which is also great. But they have then gone on to put in an arrow to put the best one above, okay? Or they've squeezed it in. Now that doesn't happen very often. I've only seen that on one paper so far, but they have done it, and that has been brilliant, because it means I can mark that better piece, okay? So if in doubt and you want to put in a couple of things, like I often advise you to, then actually review and go through and think, well, which is the better one, and try and put that one at the top of your list. Because if you ever have a scenario where there is a marking guide that says if more than one thing is given, only take a certain one, sometimes it will say take the best one, okay, and ignore anything else. So you can only give credit to one answer, you can't give double credit, but at least you'll get credit for the best thing. However, in this case, it says only read the first one. So my advice now to you, for you to take away from this video, is if you are going to put in multiple points to your answer, and to be fair, this isn't totally clear, it just says give evidence. It only doesn't say give only one piece of evidence. So I can't blame students for putting in more than one, and if it was me, I would have put in more than one, because you want to give them as much as you can. You want to give the marker as much as you can. But if you put in one piece of evidence and then thought of an even better one and put it underneath, it's not going to get credit. It's not even going to get read. Let me say that again, it's not even going to get read. We've been clearly instructed to read the first one. Anything else that comes underneath, don't even read it, okay? Because it's not going to get marks. There's no point in wasting time reading it. We have thousands of papers to mark. We can't waste time. So, finishing point. If you're going to put in more than one thing, try and put your best thing at the top. Unless, of course, it's an extended response, in which case you will be structuring your answer anyhow. But in this case, as you can see, this is not an extended piece of writing. So if you want to put in more than one thing, make sure your best piece, the thing that you think is going to get you most credit, goes at the top. And if you can't fit it in the top, a little arrow is fine. We have to also always follow instructions of the student. So if they ask you to read something first, or they want to move something, or they cross something out, or they circle something as their main answer, we always follow that. So don't be afraid of editing or giving some direction to the marker, because we will follow that. Okay, so what happens now is we just continue marking anything that comes as a bit of an issue that a lot of people are having problems with, or a few are having problems with, or things that are getting marked a little bit off. We get called back in, have a refocus session. But other than that, this is full steam ahead now, going in with the marking. So once I've got some feedback and got some more ideas of where students are doing great, where they're going wrong, what good advice I can give you from what I've seen, and what mistakes to look out for from what I've seen, I'll be making some more videos for you. So for now, take care, work hard, and I'll see you soon.